Hi friends, Mr. Skyer here. Welcome to Read Aloud Day 3. In front of you right now, you should have your article that has this adorable baby cheetah on it. And you should have your paper that says Friday 3/20, Read Aloud Caring for Baby. So make sure that you have those in front of you, and let's get started. Now, the first thing that we have to look at when we are looking at this text today, the first question you're going to be asking yourself is, what is the genre of the article? Take a minute now, look through the article. Oh my goodness. And write down, what is the genre of the article? Do that now. Okay. So if you wrote down that the genre of the article is nonfiction, you would be correct. You noticed that instead of illustrations, there are photographs. There are photographs of the animals in the article. You also probably noticed, even on the very front page on the cover, there's a little label right here. Labels are one of the text features in a nonfiction text. I'm gonna look through it some more. I see some captions over here, and I see a diagram back here. So these are all different text features that we can use to figure out that the genre of the article is nonfiction. We also know that the genre is nonfiction because it is going to teach us about something. Now that we know what the genre of the article is, we can get started with reading it. So make sure that you have your article in front of you. If not, you can follow along with my article on the screen. So let's look at the title of the text. The title of the text says, Caring for Baby. This baby cheetah was born at a zoo. She needed help. Can you guess who helped her? Alright, so I'm thinking in my brain right now what this text is telling us and what we need to think about when we are reading the text. So this baby cheetah was born and she needed some help. So I think we're going to learn about who helped her. We can also see this label right here. It says Chris the baby cheetah. So we know that the cheetah's name is Chris. Alright, so let's get started reading. You got puppy, pal. Baby cheetahs need a lot of care. Chris's mom could not take care of her. The zookeepers gave Chris food and a safe place to live, but Chris needs more. She needs to run and play. She needs a furry friend. Who helps with this? Remus the dog helps. Remus gives Chris just what she needs. Chris needs to run. Remus helps. Remus grabs a toy. He runs with the toy. Chris chases him. She runs and runs. She gets the exercise that she needs. Chris needs to play. Remus helps. Baby cheetahs are shy and scared. Remus is not. Remus shows Chris how to play. Playing with Remus helps Chris feel brave. Chris needs to cuddle. Remus helps. He lets Chris get close. His furry body is warm. Chris cuddles with Remus. She gets love. So at the top, you can see that Chris needs to run. She needs lots of exercise, and Remus is helping out with that. Remus is also helping out with her play and her cuddles, because everyone needs some cuddles sometimes. So now that we've read the 2 middle pages in here, we can definitely think about what the main topic of the article is. So take about 30 seconds now, and you're going to write based on what we read so far, what you think the main topic is. Go. Alright, so on the front cover, we see a baby cheetah, and we've learned that she needs extra help that the zookeepers can't provide her. Then, we see the heading that says Puppy Pal. We see Remus down here, and we know that it's Remus because of that handy little label right there, another nonfiction text feature. And we learn that Remus is going to be the dog that helps, or the animal that helps out baby Chris. On this page, we learn how Remus helps baby Chris. So Chris needs to run, Chris needs to play, Chris needs to cuddle. These are all things that Remus helps with. So when we're thinking about the main topic in the story, or not in the story because this is a nonfiction text, when we're thinking about the main topic in this article, we need to think about what the article is teaching us. The article is teaching us actually about this puppy being a pal, or the puppy being a helper. So if you wrote down anything like helping puppy or the helping dog, that is the main topic of the article. The main topic of the article is the helping puppy, because the article is telling us who is helping Chris, this is puppy, and how the puppy helps Chris. Now, take about 30 more seconds and think about what text features you see in this article. And you're going to think about them and then write them down. Remember, you're using complete sentences. Go. Alright, so we've already talked about text features quite a bit because we needed them to tell us what genre the text was. So, on the front we see a photograph here. That's a nonfiction text feature. When the author uses photographs instead of illustrations, we know that the text will most likely be nonfiction. We also see a bunch of little labels. Labels are another non-fiction text feature. So we saw, here we go. On the front here, we see Chris the baby cheetah. That's the label telling us why the picture of the cheetah is here and why it is important to what the author is going to teach us. And then in here, we see 2 labels, one for Remus and one for Chris. So we know that Remus is the dog, and this label right here that says Chris is reminding us that Chris is the cheetah, in case we forgot. Now some other text features that we see a heading here. Remember, this isn't the title of the article. This is the title of the article, Caring for Baby. This is the heading. We know that headings and titles are also nonfiction text features. On the second page inside, let's see. On the second page inside, we can see these more photographs and some captions. So these captions explain what is happening in the picture, and it adds to our learning about the main topic, which is the puppy helper. So we are learning, so this caption tells us that Chris needs to run, and it's a photograph of Chris running after Remus. You see that Chris needs to play. This is a picture of Chris playing with Remus, and Chris needs to cuddle. And we get to see this adorable picture right here of Chris and Remus cuddling. So the text features that you should have written down are photographs, labels, headings, and captions. And then there's one more on the back. Let's read it before we write it down. Who helps at the zoo? Dogs help baby cats at the zoo, but they don't do everything. So we see right here, we've got baby cat. What the baby needs is up here, and this is a list of all of the things that the baby needs. And this is, does a dog help? And it's going to tell you yes or no. So, what baby needs? The baby cat, what baby needs? Cleaning. Does a dog help? Yes. The dog helps to keep the baby clean. Awesome. Now, here's a photo of Chris getting fed. What baby needs is food. Does a dog help? No. Dogs would eat the food. Well, that wouldn't be very helpful, so that makes sense that the dog doesn't help with that. The baby, then we got, so the baby cat needs love. Does a dog help? Yes, and look at this picture. It's of the dog and the baby tiger cuddling. That's very similar to the photograph that we saw of Remus and Chris. Now the last one. What baby needs play? Does a dog help with that? Yes. And we know that because in here, on the second photograph in here, and the second caption, it asks, or it tells us that Chris needs to play and that Remus helps with that. So on the back, this text feature is called a diagram. So you should also have diagram written down as well. All right, now you are going to write, I'm going to give you 30 seconds now to write down the answers to the next two questions. You're going to write down who is Chris and who is Remus. Remember to use complete sentences. Go. Now, this should have been pretty simple when we're asking who is Chris and who is Remus, because we have labels telling us who these animals are. So on the front, we see the label that says Chris the baby cheetah. And in case you weren't sure, in here, there's a label that says Chris as well. So Chris is the baby cheetah. So when the question is asking you who is Chris, you're writing down Chris is the baby cheetah. Then the next question, who is Remus? We see the label right here pointing to this handsome looking dog, saying that Remus is the dog. So when the question asks you who is Remus, you're going to write down Remus is the dog that helps Chris. Awesome. Now, the last question on your sheet. What does Remus not help with? And why not? You're going to use the diagram on the back to help you answer that question. Remember, This diagram is telling you what the baby cat needs, and it's telling you, does the dog help, yes or no? So you're gonna you're gonna take about a minute now. You're gonna write down, what does Remus not help with? And then you're going to say, why not? Remember, you're using complete sentences. Go. Alright, so we're answering the question, what does Remus not help with, and why not? So we're going to use this diagram on the back. These are all of the things that the baby cat needs help with, or that Chris would need help with. So we've got cleaning, food, love, and play. And then in this column right here, does a dog help? It's going to tell you yes or no. So there's only one square that says no. And that square goes with food. So I would write down, Remus does not help Chris with food. Remus does not help to feed Chris. And then for the question that says why not, I would write down, Remus does not help Chris eat food because the dogs would eat the food. So Remus would eat all of the food, and that would not be helpful at all because we know that babies and kids need food to grow big and strong. So that would not be helpful. So the answer to the last question, what does Remus not help with and why not? We know that Remus does not help with food. Remus does not help to feed Chris because he would eat the food. So, before you move on to your exit ticket, let's recap or go over what we read today. We read an article titled Caring for Baby, and it's about Chris the baby cheetah and who helps Chris in the zoo and who helps Chris in the zoo to do things that the zookeepers cannot help Chris with. The main topic is Puppy Pal because we're learning all about how this dog, Remus, helps Chris in the zoo. Remus helps Chris to run and get all of her exercise. Chris needs to play, so Remus helps Chris gain confidence in her play. And Chris needs to cuddle, so Remus also provides a furry body for Chris to cuddle with. Then on the back, it gives you a quick snapshot as to what dogs help baby cats with at the zoo. So, your exit ticket today, what are 3 ways that Remus helps Chris? What does Remus do? You need to make sure to use the text to answer the questions and write in complete sentences. So, the first question is, what are 3 ways that Remus helps Chris? You need to use the text to answer this question. There are 3 ways that Remus helps Chris. You need to be specific. You need to write down, what does Remus do? So what exactly does Remus do to help Chris? You need to make sure that you use the text. You can use any of the text features, the labels, the captions, the photographs, the headings, the titles, anything that will help you answer the question. They are free to use. And make sure that you're writing in complete sentences. Remember, if you have any questions at all, your parents can reach out to your teachers, and we will try and help you the best that we can. So, thanks for tuning in today, and we'll see you on Monday.